In a shocking turn of events, YouTuber Mikhailo Viktorovich Polyakov was arrested after attempting to contact the isolated and protected Sentinelese tribe on North Sentinel Island. Known for his extreme stunts and travel-based content, Polyakov's latest attempt to film a daring encounter with one of the most uncontacted tribes in the world has sparked a whirlwind of international attention, controversy, and legal scrutiny. The incident unfolded on the remote North Sentinel Island, located in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands of India, an area that has been off-limits to outsiders for decades due to the tribe's hostile reaction to any form of contact and their vulnerability to diseases brought from the outside world. Polyakov's arrest was the culmination of his bold but reckless attempt to bridge the gap between a world steeped in tradition and isolation and the modern global community. He had spent years cultivating an online persona built around his thirst for adventure and exploration of the world's most dangerous and uncharted territories. North Sentinel Island, with its rich history of minimal interaction with the outside world, became a new target for his adventurous ambitions. Despite the clear risks, Polyakov pressed forward, convinced that his encounter would bring unprecedented content for his followers. His intent seemed simple: to leave behind a gift, specifically, a can of Diet Coke, while capturing footage of the event to share with his growing audience. What he didn't anticipate, however, was the heavy legal and moral consequences that followed. The Sentinelese people have lived on North Sentinel Island for thousands of years, fiercely resisting outside influence. The island's inhabitants are hunter-gatherers, and their way of life remains unchanged by the modern world. Over the years, they have made it abundantly clear that they wish to remain undisturbed, using weapons such as bows and arrows to fend off intruders. The Indian government has enforced strict laws to protect the tribe's isolation, making it illegal to visit the island without express permission. These laws were enacted not only to preserve the cultural integrity of the Sentinelese, but also to protect them from diseases that they have no immunity to, which could wipe out the entire population. Despite these protections, Polyakov's desire to make a name for himself on YouTube led him to take extreme risks. Reports indicate that he had been aware of the legal restrictions but believed his celebrity status and the global fascination with the tribe would give him the freedom to carry out his plans without facing serious consequences. He made his way to North Sentinel Island via a small boat, bringing with him a camera crew to document the encounter. The plan, according to sources, was to approach the island, make contact with the tribe, and leave the can of Diet Coke as a symbol of goodwill. On the day of the incident, Polyakov and his crew sailed close to the island's shores. As expected, the Sentinelese reacted immediately, launching arrows at the boat. Despite this, Polyakov attempted to continue, even going so far as to toss the can of Coke onto the shore in an effort to appease the tribe. What followed was a series of tense moments as the tribe's warriors stood their ground, demonstrating their long-held tradition of resisting any outside intrusion. The crew then quickly retreated, but the footage captured that day would go on to fuel widespread debate about the ethics of such encounters. The Indian government was swift to respond to the news of the unauthorized visit. Authorities were horrified not only by the blatant disregard for the laws protecting the tribe, but also by the dangerous implications of exposing the Sentinelese to foreign contaminants. The very act of leaving a can of Coke behind, no matter how innocuous it seemed to Polyakov, could have had dire consequences. The tribe, who had no exposure to modern goods and foods, could have been harmed by the item. More concerning was the possibility that Polyakov's actions would encourage other individuals or groups to follow in his footsteps, leading to a dangerous influx of visitors who might jeopardize the tribe's survival. The arrest came shortly after Polyakov returned to the mainland. Law enforcement was already tracking his movements, and once he was apprehended, he was charged with violating the island's protected status and endangering the lives of the Sentinelese. His actions were condemned by environmentalists, anthropologists, and human rights advocates, all of whom warned that any form of contact with the tribe could have irreparable consequences. Polyakov, however, maintained that his intentions were good, believing that his encounter would bring attention to the plight of isolated tribes and potentially foster a sense of understanding between cultures. The debate surrounding Polyakov's arrest raises broader questions about the ethics of documenting isolated cultures. In the age of social media and constant content creation, the line between respectful exploration and exploitation becomes increasingly blurred. Polyakov's decision to document the encounter, despite knowing the risks, reveals a deep tension between individual desires for fame and the collective responsibility to protect vulnerable communities. While many see his actions as an example of reckless disregard for indigenous rights, others argue that his attempt to engage with the tribe, however misguided, demonstrates a form of curiosity and respect for their existence. In the aftermath of the arrest, There was widespread condemnation of Polyakov's actions, with many calling for harsher penalties for anyone who violates the laws protecting the Sentinelese. The incident has reignited a conversation about the role of social media influencers in shaping global narratives and the potential harm their actions can cause to communities that have made it clear they do not want to engage with the outside world. Polyakov supporters, however, argue that his intentions were purely to bridge cultural divides and create meaningful dialogue, albeit through unconventional means. As the legal proceedings unfold, Polyakov's case could serve as a turning point in the way we view the relationship between modern technology and indigenous cultures. The allure of creating viral content can often overshadow the more profound responsibility that comes with engaging with unfamiliar societies, especially those that are intentionally isolated. While Polyakov's actions were extreme, they highlight an ongoing tension between the desire for sensational content and the respect for indigenous autonomy and rights. In the end, the arrest of Mikhailo Viktorovich Polyakov is a stark reminder of the delicate balance between exploration and exploitation. The world's fascination with uncontacted tribes and isolated cultures can often overshadow the very real consequences of disrupting their way of life. The Sentinelese tribe, who have managed to survive for thousands of years without external interference, are a testament to the resilience of human cultures that resist the pressures of modernization. Whether or not Polyakov's actions will lead to a broader rethinking of how isolated tribes are treated by the global community remains to be seen, but it is clear that this event has brought the issue to the forefront of international discourse. For now, Polyakov's arrest stands as a cautionary tale of the dangers of overstepping cultural boundaries in the pursuit of fame.